like this. I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president.
What a day. What a beautiful day. Finally, we've got Donald Trump back in power. We've got Donald Trump back in power. We have the markets responding, although I must be honest, I'm kind of underwhelmed by the response. You got Bitcoin just above its all-time high, and we need to close above the all-time high to confirm this. You got the altcoins very, very, very green, but even with these altcoins that are green, I do think I'm slightly underwhelmed by what's going on. I'm slightly underwhelmed by what's going on. I do think that the end of the election trade is upon us, and we're now getting into the next trade, exactly like what happened with the ETF trade. So with the ETF trade, we had the huge pump that went up the ETF, and then we had a little bit of a correction, and that was the end of the ETF trade. And then we continued to run for the real run while people digested the news that there was an ETF. So today we're going to talk about the end of the first trade, which is the Donald Trump being elected, and the move onto the next part of the market movement. And there's a whole lot of altcoins that you need to be looking at as if you want to position yourselves into the new part of the market movement. And that's really what today is about. Also, today is a little bit of a celebration with you guys, with the fam. So yeah, let's get going, guys.
President of the United States.
The U.S. President is Donald Trump.
You're allowed to celebrate, because I think a lot of people have forgotten what we've gone through in the last 4 years. It's been absolute hell, but I think it's over. We've got Donald Trump back. I think crypto has been like the hardest hit sector of the economy. We have Donald Trump back. The markets are responding. For those of you who were here with us earlier, I think it was an incredible stream to have the entire Banter fam on the stream. I don't think we've actually ever done that. We even brought Miles back onto our stream. It was absolutely amazing. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, I think this is probably the best time to subscribe to the channel. Join us. There's almost 1.1 million of us. We had the biggest crypto stream live this morning. We had the biggest crypto stream in the world live this morning while Trump was announcing his victory speech, which was absolutely special. If you were there, just comment in the chat. Also, what I need you guys to do is I need you guys to subscribe to the channel, and I need you guys to smash the like button, obliterate the like button, go crazy. I'm going to give you tons of alpha. We're going to talk about the end of the Trump election trade. We're going to talk about the beginning of the next trade. There are a whole lot of altcoins and altcoin narratives, which it may not be too late to buy, even though we've had this incredible pump. Even though we've had this incredible pump, we nearly bought the song back. We're going to get a little bit of a YouTube strike if we do that again. So we have the altcoins pumping. I think a little bit underwhelming. So let's actually look at the market. So we've got Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just, if I tell you just above the previous high. The previous high is, let's say, 23,700 or 23,800, and we're pretty much at 73,984. So Bitcoin just above the thing, and that's why I said to you, I'm a little bit underwhelmed by the response. I kind of thought that we'd get an 85,000. What this tells you is that that the markets had already priced in a Trump victory. So I thought that the markets hadn't priced in a Trump victory, but it seems that the markets are telling us that they did price in a Trump victory. I think this is very similar to the election trade. So with the election trade, we had the huge run up to the election. We got all the way up to wherever Bitcoin was before the election, and then the ETF got approved, and then we started going down. So I think that if you look at what was the date of the approval of the ETF? It was like 10th of January, right? So if we look at the run up from when BlackRock actually put in the filing, which was somewhere around here, we ran all the way up here to the 10th of January. See, that is when the ETF was actually approved. Then we had a correction. So then we had a correction over here. We corrected by about 20%, believe it or not. And it was a short correction. And then that was the end of the ETF trade. And then we moved on to the next part of the trade. And I think we got a similar trade this morning. So I don't know if you guys are watching, and I'll take you to the hourly. First, there was news that Trump was actually elected or almost elected. We went up to 75,397. Then we dumped. And we went back to 72,709. And now I think we are starting the next part of the trade. So I think there's a lot of people, there's a cohort of people that traded the news. They basically said, look, we believe that Trump's going to win, and we're trading as if we believe that Trump's going to win. And those people have got what they came for. And so now what they're doing is they're leaving, and they're allowing a whole cohort of new people who are looking for something completely different to be part of the trade. So there are some people who wanted Trump to win. They came for that trade. Then there were some people sitting on the sidelines saying, we will only get into crypto if Trump wins, and then we know that the environment is much more friendly. That's really where the big money is sitting. So that is what the trade looks like. Now, let's quickly look at what is actually happening on the election front. So on the election front, you have Trump, who's now the president. He's got 277 seats. Kamala Harris has got 224 seats. You have Trump, who's won the Senate. So they got 52 seats in the Senate versus the Democrats 42. So they now have control of he's the president, and he has the Senate. Then there's one more battle, and this is the battle for the House. And to this end, the Republicans have got 197 seats. The Democrats have 177. They need 218 seats. And if you look at all the shaded pink areas, these are the seats that are still left. So you're talking about 197. They've got to get to 218. So they need 21 more seats. And let's just count the pinks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can see that there's probably more than 2021. So chances are we're going to get a Trump clean sweep. The president, the Senate, and the House pretty much happening. And so I think that this is, I would say, a very, very, very humiliating day for a lot of people. A very humiliating day, specifically for Kamala Harris. I saw this coverage from CNN. This is amazing. Just listen to this.
Asked, are there any places that the vice president is overperforming Joe Biden in 2020? So we could show you that as well. We just bring that out here. Harris overperforming in 2020.
Holy smokes.
There you go. So let this go away and see if there's anything on the east side there.
Literally nothing?
Literally nothing.
Literally not one county?
So you asked,
she did not outperform Joe Biden in one county. It's probably one of the most embarrassing moments for the Democrats. This is Joe Biden's wife, and she is going to vote wearing full red. I mean, if you think that this is unintentional, I think it just shows the rift and the embarrassment that the Democrats are actually going through. I think it's a case of who laughs the loudest. I think this is the last time you ever have to hear her laugh. Ever. She'll never laugh again. Not publicly. She'll definitely never laugh again publicly. Definitely. So let's enjoy this. It's about a minute. It's the last time you ever have to endure this. It's just a minute. And I know it's hard. But you nearly had to go through 4 more years of this. If the vote had gone the other way, you would have had this for 4 more years. I'm saving you 4 more years. So, okay, enough of the Kamala life. So there's a lot of people that are very, very, very embarrassed. I think the entire 𝗕 list is very embarrassed. I think, here's just a couple of people who are very, very, very embarrassed. This was also, I think, extremely embarrassing. She pretended she was speaking to a voter.
Thank you.
And watch what happens. This is quite embarrassing. She turns her phone and you can see the camera's on. Now, if you've got an iPhone, you know that's what that means, that she's not speaking to anyone. So she literally is not speaking to anyone. She's pretending to talk to a fan. So a lot of people super embarrassed, especially the people that thought that there were more than 2 genders. As Josh said earlier, he said, and we're back to 2 genders, which is probably one of the highlights of this election win. We're back to only 2 genders. Someone said, Mr. M said, he said, I haven't seen a man beat a woman this badly since the Olympics. And I think that's really good. It's true. I don't think a man's beat the Olympics this bad. A man's beaten a woman this badly since the Olympics. Don't hate me. I think someone else who's a little bit embarrassed is Mark Cuban. He became a spokesperson for the wrong side, and I think now he's eating his words. Although I do like Mark Cuban, I must be honest. I like him a lot less now, to be honest. I think another cohort of people that is completely embarrassed is the legacy media. I think that it was proven that this is the last time, that the last election was the last time that they were in control. They are not in control anymore. I think that what we realize is that X is the new media. I think that David Sachs correctly said, this is a bankruptcy moment for the legacy media. They shrieked Nazi, fascist, traitor, insurrectist at the top of their lungs for years. The country didn't believe it. The spell is broken. The credibility is destroyed. We're entering a brand new dawn. You look at X. X had 6 billion US hourly mobile seconds used on their platform, which is, I think, a new record. And as Elon says, from now on, you are the media, we are the media. We don't need the mainstream media. They don't fulfill anything. So I think a lot of people really embarrassed. A lot of people really embarrassed. The mainstream media really embarrassed. And then on the other side, you've got all the people that aren't really embarrassed. And to be honest, this is the side that I want to be on. I want to be on Donald Trump's side. I want to be on Dana White's side. I want to be on Elon Musk's side. As 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗒 says about Elon Musk, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗒 is a staunch Republican, and he says,
I would never bet against Elon in anything. So I think that's sort of
I agree.
Hard rule number one. I would
never bet against Elon in anything. Elon did take a chance. He put himself out there. Dana White, he was out there thanking the Nelk boys.
I want to thank some people real quick. I want to thank the Nelk boys, Aiden Ross, Theo Vaughn, Bustin' with the Boys, and last but not least,
Joe Rogan.
the mighty and powerful Joe Rogan.
So we've got pretty much, this is the side that I think we're all sitting on. This is the side that we've been sitting on all the time. All the mainstream media who said Donald Trump was tired, he was there at 3 a.m. and he was celebrating and he was strong. I mean, I was here at 5 a.m. and I didn't feel as strong as Donald Trump looked. So amazing victory. Let's look at what it actually means for the markets. Remember, yesterday we spoke about Goldman Sachs. And they said that they had some predictions. They said that if Trump wins with a Republican sweep, now we're very close to the sweep, we're not exactly at the sweep. They said the S&P 500 would be up 3%. So let's look at the S&P 500, which is currently up 2%. So they were close, especially because we don't actually have the Republican sweep yet. So the S&P is up, big green candle, reminds me very much of 2016. Then you've got the NASDAQ also up 1.64%. You have the Dixie up. Now this is usually bad for risk assets. So what this means is the dollar is getting stronger, which means that anything priced against the dollar is going to get weaker, which means that things like Bitcoin and markets should be going down. This is quite an anomaly where you have the Dixie going up and then you have the markets going up. Now I'll explain to you what's actually happening here. We know that Trump is going to be all about tariffs. He's going to be punishing anything that is not manufactured outside the United States. That means that there's going to be more demand for US dollars and less demand for foreign currencies, which is why the Dixie is actually strengthening, right? And that is why if you looked at the markets this morning, what you realized is the US markets went up. If you look at the Dow, and I haven't looked at the Dow Jones in the last 15 minutes, but let's look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. This is probably up quite a bit. Why would the Dow Jones see up 3%? Why? Because Trump is going to bring manufacturing back to America. The markets that would suffer the most are the Chinese markets because there's going to be tariffs in the Chinese markets. And if you look at the Chinese markets, the Hang Seng, well, I'm looking at the Hang Seng as a proxy. It is down 1.3%. It's one of the only markets in the world that's actually down. If you look at Donald Trump's share price, the DJT, the Trump Media Group, it is up 24.31%. And let's just quickly go and see where it was from the local bottom that we spoke about 2 days ago. It is up 55%. So you can see exactly how the markets are actually responding. And another market that's actually responding is Iran. Their currency is falling to an all-time low because I think they know what's about to happen to them. They're going to get, I'm not going to say they're going to get nuked because that's probably like the wrong terminology to use in a situation like this. But I don't think it's going to be very pretty. I don't think it's going to be very pretty. I think they want to clean up the act before January when Donald Trump actually gets inaugurated, because I think it's going to look a little bit ugly after the inauguration in January. So that is how traditional markets are reacting. Now let's go to the market that we are most concerned about, which is the Bitcoin market. As I said, I'm slightly underwhelmed by this reaction. I really thought that if Trump won, we would get an $85,000 Bitcoin, maybe a $90,000 Bitcoin. We're not there. We are at 74,322. And as I said to you, I think what's going on here, it's the end of one trade and the beginning of another trade. Now, the only question is, do we get a real correction before we get the move up? And the answer is that I don't think so. I think we had a small correction this morning, and I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe go back and clip that 70,000 level again, 72,000 level again. But I think for all intents and purposes, this election is like every other election. I want to quickly just go to show you what every other election actually looks like. Here we go. Remember, we showed you this chart like 2 days ago, and I said to you, with every election, we dipped into the election. Once the election was won, the price went up, never, ever, ever to return to that price ever again. And I really think that that's how we play out from here. I think we may have some shenanigans today, maybe tomorrow, But when you zoom out, I think when you look back at this is the worst that it's ever going to be. Specifically around Bitcoin, and we'll talk about the altcoins in a second. So that is the trade. I really believe in this cup and handle thesis, which 𝗪𝗙𝗪𝗙 is talking about here, which is that we're going to get this breakout. Once we get the breakout, we can go to 120, 130,000. That is where I believe that Bitcoin needs to be or should be. I just think the market hasn't digested this news. I think they're digesting the news that there's a new president, and I think that the next part of the trade will actually start coming. And that's why when we made our portfolios, I said the one trade you actually really have to be in is Bitcoin. I just want to quickly just see how Parcel's doing. So Bitcoin, I said you have to be in Bitcoin, even though it's not the sexiest trade in the world. There we go. Parcel's up 20 to 25 cents. So, actually 27.51 cents. Very, very, very good. So that is why I said you want to be in tokens like Bitcoin, Parcel, and a whole lot of others, which we'll talk about in a second. When I look at the altcoins, so fantastic day for altcoins. I see Uniswap is up 30%. I see the meme coins are crazy. So I don't know why GOAT's up 36%. I get why SPX is up because the S&P is up, but I don't get why GOAT is up 36%. You've got a certain class of tokens here which are running more than any other class of tokens, and that is the DeFi token. So look at Uniswap. Look at Injective. Look at all the other DeFi tokens. So Lido up 20.32%. Look at Aave. In fact, if I look for the first time in a long time, if I look at the narrative charts here, the sector performance, when I look at the sector performance over here, the top performing sector today is actually DeFi, not meme coins, that's quite unusual for where we are in the market. So it shows that there is a shift in the actual market, a massive shift in the actual market. And I think that one of the reasons is because Donald Trump said the following. He said, listen to what he said. Oh, let's just unpause that and just see if we can get that again.
Overseas, I will support the right to self-custody. I will keep Elizabeth Warren and her goons away from your Bitcoin. It will be the policy of my administration, United States of America, to keep 100% of all the Bitcoin the U.S. government currently holds or acquires into the future. This will serve in effect as the core of the strategic national Bitcoin stockpile. Today, I repeat my pledge to commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht to a sentence.
So Trump's here. He's made a whole lot of promises. One of them is that he's going to fire Gary Gensler, which is, I think, going to be really good for the altcoins. I think we've also got a vice president who has disclosed that number one, he owns at least $250,000 to $500,000 worth of Bitcoin, but that's obviously gone up. He also owns a whole lot of NFTs. So we have a degen president who's launching a DeFi project, who's made a whole lot of promises. You have a degen vice president who holds a whole lot of Bitcoin. As Brian Armstrong says, you have a new welcome. He says, welcome to the new members of America's most pro-crypto Congress, 219 plus pro-crypto candidates. So it's like a tidal wave and I don't think that the market has had enough time to digest how bad it was for us in the past and how much is going to change now. You literally have a president who's launched a DeFi project. His team have launched a bunch of meme coins. You have a vice president that holds Bitcoin, holds NFTs. You have a pro-crypto Congress, which we haven't had. I don't think we've ever had. You have people that are out of the Senate. Chair of the Senate Banking Committee, out, held the seat for 20 years, and he was against, Sherrod Brown. He was against crypto, and he's now not. So one of the tokens not tokens, one of the coins that's actually pumping is Coinbase. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we had Coinbase. Oh, we didn't have Coinbase in this portfolio, but Coinbase is pumping. And the reason why Coinbase is pumping is because I think Brian Armstrong has been preparing his entire 5 years. He's been preparing for this moment. And the reason is he has been lobbying. He has been trying to play chess with the politicians so that he could create an environment where we have pro-crypto Congress. And you now have a pro-crypto Congress, it's a huge tidal wave in the United States. I don't think that the market has digested just how big this is. And I'll show you that in a couple of seconds. I think the most important thing is that Trump made a promise, and the promise was to keep promises.
I will govern by a simple motto: promises made, promises kept. We're going to keep our promises. Nothing will stop me from keeping my word to you, the people. We will make America safe, strong, prosperous.
So nothing will stop him from keeping his word to the American people. Let's look at what his word or his promises were to crypto. One, to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve, and that is to hold all $14 billion of what the US actually holds. So now we know there's $14 billion that are out of circulation. To establish the advisory council, and I know a few people who have actually been approached to be there, to oppose CBDCs. So we're not going to get CBDCs under Trump. To dismiss Gary Gensler. I'm going to say it again because I think that's like the biggest thing for me. To dismiss that fuckwit. I'm not going to say it because then YouTube's going to ban it. Gary Gensler is going to be gone. Let's just say that. Very big for crypto. To grant clemency to Ross Ulbricht. Can you imagine Ross Ulbricht's mother, who's been at all the conferences, making people sign free Ross petitions, and now she may get a chance to actually spend time with her son. And whereas her son did build a crazy platform in Silk Road, he was one of the first use cases for Bitcoin and how a lot of people actually discovered Bitcoin. And then he wants to promote domestic Bitcoin mining. So that's the promises that Trump's actually made to us. So what I think happens, I think he does fire Gary Gensler. I think Gary Gensler is already out. I mean, to be honest, I think he's already packed. You know, like when you're in the States, when you leave with that box in your hand. I think he's going to leave with his box in his hand. And I think we're going to get a new dawn over there. And so I think that this chart is actually very accurate. I think people haven't digested it. And I think when they do, they realize that from here, it's pretty much up only. There's no way that we can get a correction now. Absolutely, absolutely no way we can get a big correction now. Why? Because you have the crypto-specific forces which are at play here. Remember, we have been suppressed by the current administration for 4 years. It's been the worst regime you could ever have for Bitcoin. They attacked every single altcoin. They went for taking laws and enforcing them, even though they didn't. So regulation by enforcement. And so I think that when you take that, plus what 𝗪𝗏 said, which I think is what people don't understand, the upcoming deregulation wave will create an economic sonic boom. So you're going to get this economic sonic boom, which, by the way, coincides with the Fed's the Fed increasing liquidity and global liquidity completely increasing. And so you can see that tomorrow we have the Fed meeting. There's a 99.2% chance of a single rate cut, which I think is exactly what we're going to get. But more importantly, what's going to happen tomorrow is that we believe that the Fed will stop shrinking their balance sheet and they will start growing their balance sheet again. So that's very, very, very big. They'll start putting more money in circulation or stop taking money out of circulation, which is very, very, very big. So I think the economic deregulation plus the fact that crypto has been suppressed is going to be, it's huge. And again, I keep saying this because either I'm wrong or the market's wrong. And in this case, I think the market's wrong. I think that the market hasn't digested how much of a tectonic shift this actually is. This is like one of the biggest things that could happen to crypto. We couldn't wish for more. This has been the only impediment to crypto. In fact, if you look at, let me look at, where's that chart? Here's a chart here. If you look at what's happened to the developer activity in the United States in the last 4 years, so you look at from 2020, right? Just look at what happened to the US developer activity. And now that could all come back to the US and the US can start being a crypto powerhouse again. So I don't know, to me, I think the market hasn't yet priced in everything. Specifically, I think the altcoins haven't priced this in. And I want to show you something. So when I look at the altcoins, there's two views. You can look at this as one of the views. And it's been an amazing day. Like to get Uniswap, which is one of the majors, up by 30%, and to get like SPX, the meme coin, up by 30%, and Injective up by 20%. It has been a fantastic, fantastic, fantastic day on the altcoins. But take a weekly view. So here you can see I'm taking a weekly view. And if I look at the weekly view, pretty much most of the altcoins are still down from where they were a week ago. And not a little bit down, a lot down. So like Stacks is still down 8.45%. Optimism is down 13% from where it was a week ago. Which to me tells me that the run hasn't even started. So you look at the altcoins today, say, wow, I can't get in. It's crazy. How can I get in after 15, 20% pumps? But guys, last week, most of these coins were actually lower. Last week, these coins were lower, believe it or not. And here we are a week later. We're still down 10% the week. Rune is, despite the fact that it's up 20% today, is still down 8.5% on the week. So you need to have perspective here. The perspective is that when you zoom out, and I'm going to zoom out on some of these charts just to give you perspective. If you believe that this is a new wave in crypto, do you believe that that is the end of the run? Or do you believe that this may be the beginning of a new run? So yes, we've had a pump today. And to be honest, am I rushing to buy anything today? No, I'm not. Because why? My bags were very, very, very loaded before we went into this. And I said to you yesterday, I had conviction. I took a bet. My bet was that Trump was going to win. Today, I'm handsomely rewarded for it. I'm very, very, very long PopCat, very, very, very long Rune, although I have closed some of it because, some of that was just the Trump winning the election trade. But for the rest of the altcoins, the truth is we haven't even started. So even though they're up 20%, let's just quickly look at some Arweave. Let's just quickly look at Injective. Hasn't even started the run. Let's look at Rune. Maybe Rune a little bit. Okay, like does that look like a token that started its run? No. And that's what I'm trying to show you. Yes, people are euphoric today. And to be honest, I don't know if I would be buying anything today. I'm not rushing to buy anything. I don't see any screaming buys. In fact, there's probably one or two that I would buy. I'll talk about them at the end of the show. But in the long term, I think that we have just started. Like, not even. This is just the beginning of a massive altcoin run. And one of the reasons why I said that is because if you look at the Russell 2000, the Russell 2000 is the 2000 small stocks. So it's not the big stocks. You can see that the Dow's up and the Nasdaq's up. But if you look at the amount that the Dow and the Nasdaq are up, and you compare it to the amount that the Russell 2000 is actually up, you can see that there's a shift now to more risky assets. So Trump is good for liquidity. He's also good for risky assets. And so there is a shift now to the more risky stocks, away from the Facebooks, the Metas, the Googles, the Amazons, the Apples, to the more risky stocks, the Russell 2000. And these have been the best performers on the market today. And so that tells me that we may get the same kind of shift into the altcoins. So in the beginning, I think Bitcoin dominance is going to go up. And I said exactly that was going to happen. Bitcoin dominance will go up first. But very soon, people are going to start feeling safe in the water. And when they start feeling safe in the water, what they're going to do is they're going to go into the altcoins. And so I think that as much as the altcoins have run, you have to have perspective and say, on the 1 month, let's just quickly pop this bubble. And let's pop that bubble. On the 1 month, half the altcoins are still red. Okay, does that make sense to you? We've now got a pro-crypto US president. We've got Gary Gensler out of the SEC for all intents and purposes. Does it make sense to you that on a 1 month time frame, there's, a couple of altcoins that have performed, but the majority of altcoins haven't really performed? It's not logical. I think that people are sobering up. You're getting it's like a train. The train stopped at the station. There's some people that need to get off because their station was, we're trading the election trade. And then there's a whole lot of people that are going to get on the trade, which is the people that say, okay, we're backing risk on. One of the things I think we need to look at today, I think we need to look at the ETF inflows. So they're going to be ETF inflows. For the last 2 days, let's quickly go to Fairside and just quickly get, a lot of people are thanking me for this call on Parcel, actually. ETF flows. Remember, we had de-risking for 3 days. So we had a huge run up to the election. But then we had a de-risking where we had minus 54 million. Then a big de-risking. People were nervous Trump wouldn't come in, minus 541 million. And then minus 116 million. Now, I guarantee you today that as the price goes up, so do the ETFs go like absolute crazy. And tomorrow, I guess we will have a huge spike in the ETF trade, in this ETF trade. So again, I think we're at a turning point. We need to let the passengers get on the bus. we need to make on the train. We need to make sure that we have enough money, enough positions to take us to the next station. So I'm remaining long. I mean, I did close I had some very, very highly leveraged PopCat trades and whatever else. Closed the highly leveraged Rune trade that I had because I was like, I got in at 440. I got in because I thought of the election trade. Okay, I've made my money. Now, again, I can stay in for longer, but I'd rather keep some money for crazy opportunities that arise. And I think there will be crazy opportunities that actually arise. So that is the thesis. I do want to talk about one specific sector in altcoins that is running. And that you can see it on the bubbles. So if you look at the bubbles, if you remove meme coins, what you can see is you've got Uniswap running, you've got Injective running, you've got Jupiter running, you've got Aave running, you got a whole lot of tokens that are running. Now, what are Lido also running? The reason why they're running is because these are the tokens that the SEC was going after, but these are the governance tokens, which are going to be transformed into fee-sharing tokens. So you'll remember that Uniswap has a token, but the token doesn't really have a use case. It's a governance token. All that token can be used for is to vote on the governance of the network. And they've never been able to share the revenue with the holders. And the reason why they haven't been able to share the revenue with the holders is because that would have made the SEC deem that a security. So I think earlier on, I don't remember if it was this year or last year, but I remember that there was we'll talk about FOMO 3D in a second. But let's just have a look here. I think I had it. Okay, no, I don't have the document, but there was a fee sharing proposal where Uniswap basically said, look, we want to share our fees with our token holders. And as soon as that happened, the SEC issued a Wells notice to Uniswap. And so Uniswap couldn't share the fees with the governance token, with holders of the governance token, right? The governance token is a load of bullshit. It is a way that tokens decided to issue, that Americans and other countries issued tokens so that they wouldn't be securities under the SEC, knowing that one day they will use the governance to vote, because governance means that you're allowed to vote. You will use the governance to vote for revenue sharing. That was always the scam. Everyone in crypto knows it was a scam. We just hoped that the SEC would never find out. But now that Gary Gensler is leaving, I can pretty much tell you that that's like the biggest secret, right? And so the leader of that was Uniswap, because Uniswap earns a lot of money in token fees, and they can't pay it out to their token holders, which is absolutely crazy. So now what you're seeing is that the governance token holders are actually increasing because they know that very soon those proposals to give the token holders a percentage of the fees are going to be re-implemented, and under a new SEC they may actually pass. And that's why you're getting all these governance tokens actually running. So you look at the tokens running: Uniswap, Compound, Aave, even Raydium. For me, Raydium is still one of the best trades on the market. Why? Because I think Solana is one of the best trades on the market. But you can see that there's a whole class of tokens that has actually been running: Uniswap, Athena, Raydium, Lido, Aave. What do all these tokens have in common? Well, they're all DeFi. Well, in a way, I think they're all DeFi. 𝗪𝗓𝗪𝗓 says, great job, research team, he says. He's also one of the researchers that did this. So. By the way, if you want to join the research team, no jokes, I really do need a lot of researchers because we're expanding our team like crazy. What I need you to do, if you say you're completely obsessed with crypto, right? But you got to be like completely obsessed. You got to want to come here at 5 o'clock in the morning and I need you to go to this link over here, Crypto Researchers. And I need you to apply because I need to hire full-time researchers. You're never going to write long research reports. You're just going to look for alpha. In every nook and cranny, you're going to look for alpha, basically. So, wow, look at how slow YouTube is today. It means there's a lot of people broadcasting today. A lot of alpha, which means I need you to smash the like button so that you tell people that we are the best. So, you have governance tokens flying today, and the governance tokens translate to the DeFi tokens. So you can see that if you look at the two categories that are running today, in terms of share of mind or in terms of that, you see it's DeFi and staking services, because now they can actually start paying back to the holders. And I think that this is the beginning of a movement of all these governance and DeFi tokens actually being able to do this. So again, this is the beginning of the pump. It's not the end of the pump. Yes, we may get a slight pullback while some people exit the bus, but if your holding period is, I don't know, 6 months, 12 months, still very, very, very cheap. And I want to let you know a little secret. So maybe not a secret anymore. In 2020, I took a short because I thought Donald Trump would be bad for markets. In 2016, I was very, very, very naive in 2016. And so what I did was I shorted the election day. I mean, I shorted election day. Let's say election day was, I think, November 3rd. It was like here. Okay, that it was here. And what you can see is that once Trump actually won, the markets continued to run for a long time. In fact, there was one pullback in January where I managed to close some of my shorts, but even then, like the markets continued to run and continue to run. And I think the same thing is going to happen here. I don't think that this is the end of the pump. Here, look at history. Let's go back to history over here. 2016, yeah, November. Just look at what happened. That is November 2016. Let me draw a little. That's the day Trump won the elections over there. Okay, you don't want to miss this train on the Dow Jones. You don't want to miss this train. Because when the Dow Jones does that, can you imagine what Bitcoin does? In fact, let's not imagine. Let's actually go and see it for ourselves. So we're going to go back to 2016 when Trump came into power. I remember this so clearly. Because I remember. Because I remember burning. I remember that feeling when I was getting killed. I was short the Dow Jones. Holy shit. It was one of the craziest things that you can ever do. So this is what happened when Trump won the elections on Bitcoin. 2016, it was here. There we go. So Trump won the elections round about 2016, November. It is here. So Trump won the elections here. Okay, that's what happened. Okay, I know now that when you zoom out, it looks very small, but just I want you to look at what happened. So Bitcoin went from, call it around $600, and it just continued this parabolic run to $20,000. Now, the number of weeks that it took from here to here, just want to show you like how aggressive this is. Remember, this is $600 to $20,000, took a year. 50 weeks for a, what percentage return is that? Let's quickly draw a line here. Okay. Don't be fooled that this is the end of the run. This is a 3,000% return in a year. And it's pretty much up only barring, of course, a few kinks along the way. You're always going to have that. You're always going to have leverage flashes and stuff like that. Someone says Baked is back. Well, I did tweet earlier. I mean, I wanted you guys to be the first to know because I think it's only fair. We got our market making money back. And so, you know what that means. I mean, you know, we finally have money to market make again, which we never had. So now we do. So now we can start market making again. We haven't started yet, but we will start. So because Trump won the elections, I have something that I'm going to do today. I know when I do it, the Irishman is going to cut my, I'm going to say that because if I do, it's going to be a video off YouTube again. We don't want that. There's a good video here. There's 6,500 people, but only 1,303 likes. Can you believe that, Josh? Can you believe that? Such alpha. Alpha is oozing. It's oozing. I can't even keep the alpha in. It's just oozing everywhere. And only 1,300 likes. Can you believe it? All right, so first of all, I want to congratulate anybody that caught this trade. There was a trade that Joe McCann gave you guys on the Friday Banter. That trade is up. We got in at 8 million. Here is where the Friday Banter was actually shot. You can see exactly over here. And then from there, that trade is now up 5x. So congratulations to anyone that actually got it. Now, who got it? The people that got it were the people that are part of our Discord group called the Front Runners. And what we do is, amongst other things, so like we have a lot of channels. You have Run's channel, you have the Irishman's channel. Here's where I drop all my birdie calls and I tell people what I'm buying and stuff like that. And there's a lot of other channels. The Irishman has a channel. There is a boasting channel. There's a giveaways channel. There's a whole lot of stuff here. But one of the things we do with our front runners is we let them watch the filming of the Friday Banter before it's actually filmed, before it's actually aired, and actually talk to the guests live. And at this event, Joe McCann actually said, guys, you should get into FOMO 3D. And that was at an $8 million market cap. And those people that did get it are now 5x. I mean, he's basically, he loves the front runners. He's going to come back and meet the front runners again. So, because, now if I say this, I know the Irishman is going to kill me, but I'm going to do this anyway. Should I do it, Josh? Okay, I'm going to do it. But then you have to end the show immediately, okay? So, what I'm doing today, and it's only today, because Trump won, okay? Because Trump won, if you go to, okay, this is like, it's going to start playing. But if you go today, what you need to do is you need to use this link and you need to use the word Trump 2024. So you go in, you sign up with the promo code Trump2024. For the next 24 hours, a maximum of 100 people will get 50% off for 2 months. Okay, it can't be existing users. Those guys will reward in some other way because your Discord name won't happen. But for the next 24 hours, and only 100 people will get 50% off if they join Frontrunners because Trump won. It's my gift to you guys. The Irishman's going to kill me. So you use the code Trump2024. You have 24 hours. In fact, let's not do the first 100 people because there's some people that watch this. There's some people that watch this a bit later. Well, in 24 hours, we'll randomly select 100 people, and those were the ones that are actually going to get in. All right, so I think that is it for today. Someone says give it for free. I can't. It's just there's no way I can do it for free. Someone says let's just see if there's anything else happening on the market. I see people are texting me like crazy. Hold on. Let's have a look here. There's a lot of people that are texting me like crazy. Let's quickly just look and see is there anything actually going on? Here's the Uniswap proposal. We've got we already finished that. Okay, so I think we all know what's happening. Let's just quickly look at the markets one last time. 73,586. As I said, the bus has left. The bus for this trade is leaving. Let the people get off this bus. What the hell's going on here? Yeah, let people get off this bus. And get on to and let the new passengers get on that will take us to the next level. I see that, yeah, pretty much exactly as we thought. Don't be shaken out. You could get a correction. You could get a correction now because a lot of people need to get off the bus. Just think about it like people getting off a train. If you go to London, it's like the best place. Like, when you go to like Paddington Station, one of the big stations, a lot of people get off. And then a lot of people get back on, and then the train just keeps going again. That's exactly how you got to think about this. I will see you guys again tomorrow, or if anything happens to the markets, I'll see you guys again later. Before we go, let's just check what the US House. Oh, the House is done. Actually, no, the House. Let's go quickly just see how we're doing when it comes to the House elections. Where are the numbers? Okay, 197. Is this not updated? 197 to 177. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that because that's going to be the Trump sweep. All right, I love you guys, madly. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, trade well, my friends. And if you're not already subscribed, you know exactly what you need to do.